least anything that you will cross. At least create something in us. Create something in us. Nothing cross. Nothing cross. No. Yes, online students. Any clarifications, Pudala? That you will not, you need to clarify. Any doubts? Yes, any doubts?
No, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Fine. So let's start our today's discussion. That is simply we are going to look at the relationship between average cost and marginal cost curves. Now, up to now, we discuss about the relationship between product and the cost. Earlier, we discussed about the relationship between average product, then average variable cost. Thereafter, we discuss about the relationship between marginal product and marginal cost. But now, here you could see that we are going to discuss the relationship between both cost curves, average cost and marginal cost. Right. So here, so here you could see that if you look at this particular graph carefully, here you have your average cost curve. Thereafter, you have your marginal cost curve. Average cost is there, marginal cost is there. So we'll read this part and little by little we'll understand how this relationship comes. Right. So here it says, when the marginal cost is less than the average cost, simply when the marginal cost is less than the average cost, the average cost falls, and when the marginal cost is greater than the average cost increases. What do you mean by that? Here it says, this is your average cost curve. Is that okay if I do it from here? Because online students can also understand. Right. So this is your average cost curve. Right. This is your average cost curve. And you could see that, right, when your marginal cost curve is less than your average cost, you could see your marginal cost is below your average cost curve. If such thing happen, your average cost is decreased. And when your marginal cost curve is above your average cost curve, right, so your average cost is increasing. So that's the simple thing that we could see by looking at this particular graph. But a simple thing that we could look at by looking at this particular graph. Right. So how it happens? How it happens in a very simple way. Right? Any idea about this? Are you watching cricket matches? Yes. Are you watching cricket matches? Okay, so doesn't matter some of the girls. Are you watching cricket matches? But you have some idea about certain things. I will explain in a very simple way. Now let's assume that there's a particular player, right? Particular player. It's a batsman. So usually that particular player scores, average score is, let's say, 60, right? Average score is 60, meaning that, so once he go to the field, usually he scores nearly 55, 65, something like that. So that is why his average is 60. Now this is somewhat equals to the average cost. This is somewhat equals to the average cost. So let's assume that in his next match, right? In his next match, if he scores a score, let's say 50, let's say 50. So this is the score that he is scoring in his next match. So this is something equal to what? Marginal cost, right? In his next match, he scored 50, right? Accordingly, because of these two, what do you think about this player's new average? Will it be higher than 60 or lower than 60? Very good. His average is lower than 60. Right? His average is lower than 60. Good. Now, let's say rather than scoring 50 in his next match, if he scored 70, right? If he scored 70, What do you think about the average? Is it less than 60 or more than 60? It's more than 60. Average is more than 60. So it doesn't matter if you don't watch cricket, you know, okay? Very good. Right, so it's very simple. Right, if I put it in a very simple way again, there's a cricket player, is a batsman, and usually he scores 60 a match. Accordingly, this is his average value. Let's assume that in his next match, he's scoring 50. That is the additional score that he's obtaining. And that one is lower than his average value. Accordingly, what will happen? His average will be lower than 60. Average will be lower than 60. Can you see such kind of a thing on this graph? Right? So when the marginal cost is below the average cost, what will happen? Here you could see your marginal cost here, you could see it's downward sloping and again upward sloping. So when your marginal cost is below your average cost curve, your average cost is falling. Same thing happens here. Right? You score less than your average, accordingly, average is falling. Then if you look at the other way around, right, from point L to above in this curve, you would see that now your marginal cost increases, accordingly, your average cost increases. Here you could see you're scoring 70, and which is higher than your average value. Accordingly, what happened? Your average value increases. So this is simply we can apply into these average cost and the marginal cost figures. Is that clear? But we cannot say that when your average cost is falling, your marginal cost is also falling. Why? If you look at this particular graph, you could see that when your average score is decreasing, your marginal cost could also be decreased as well as could also be increased. Clear? So that's the point that you need to consider. It's based on the mathematical issue. Right? So when your average cost is falling, we cannot just say our marginal cost is falling. It could either fall or it could either increase. Right? So when your marginal cost, when your average cost increasing, right? So your marginal cost also increasing. So that is the simple identification that you want to know. And the other one is always your marginal cost curve crosses your average cost curve at the minimum point of your average cost curve. At the minimum point of the average point, in here you could see that is point A. Right? So those are the important things that you want to know. When your average cost decreases, your marginal cost either decrease or increase or both. And when your average cost increases, same thing happens. And your average cost curve always, your marginal cost curve always crosses your average cost curve at the lowest point on your average cost curve. Clear? Those are the things that you want to know in here. Right. So could you please read this particular thing in here and make a note? Get the practical idea, right? And at this point, you could see that when it's come to point L, your marginal cost is equal to what? The average cost. So that's you will based on mathematics, and once you draw the particular curves, you should see based on the figures. So please check whether you're okay with these things. Always we need to look at the behavior of the cost curves. Why such cost curves are moving in that kind of a nature? We have really good understanding on it. These are some theoretical aspects. Okay, fine, all of you. Clear? Right, yes, online students. Are you all okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Right, so now we are going to discuss about the long run average cost curves. Right, we are going to discuss about long run average cost curves. Now, again, I'm saying when it's come to the short run, we got to know that we are having two types of inputs, fixed inputs, variable inputs. Accordingly, our short run cost consists with fixed cost as well as variable cost. And also, if we consider about our short run average cost figures, we are having average fixed cost, average variable cost equals to average cost. Now we are going to discuss about the long run, where the manufacturer or where the businessman is having the fullest freedom to expand his business. Right? So when it's come to the long run, what are the types of inputs that we have? Are we having fixed inputs? No. Then which type of inputs? Variable inputs. Why we don't have fixed inputs in the long run? Your answer is correct. So why we don't have fixed inputs in the long run? There must be a rationale, isn't it? Right. Yeah. Why we are having why we don't have fixed inputs in the long run? Yes, Mudha? Sorry. Sorry.
Yes, in the long run, everything we can change. The long can expand. Unless the
Yes. Yes. We assume that we can change. Right, so we assume that we can change, but when it comes to the practical scenarios, what will happen? So usually, as I explained earlier, now it takes some time for company to settle in the business environment, right? So initially, you know that your fixed cost is higher, right? So your operating leverage is high at the very beginning, isn't it? I believe that you know what is operating leverage means. Then what happens is, initial stage, the company is not generating sufficient cash flows to change the inputs at the initial stage. But when you are in continuing your businesses, when you are doing more and more sales, what will happen? Yes, little by little you can cover up your fixed cost, right? And there's a point where you come to know that yes, now better to expand my operations, right? Better to expand my operations. So in that time, in the short run, you may continue your businesses with one factory, but now you can expand. You can go to 1, 2, or 3 factories. You can purchase many machines, right? Simply you can expand your plant size because now you're having a lot of cash flows with you, right? So accordingly, what will happen? The fixed inputs, which are considered as, right, in the short run, now are variable. Okay, now variable. So that's the main reason. So accordingly, in the long run, you have variable inputs. You don't have any fixed inputs, right? You don't have any fixed inputs. Is that clear? Right. So now here we are going to discuss about the long run average cost curves. Right? We are going to learn about long run average cost. Now, shall I erase this? Shall I erase this? So let's say that so here you have your first part and here you have your output, right? So let's do it like this. Right. So let's assume that these are short run average cost curves that you have. Short run average cost 1, short run average cost 2, short run average cost 3, short run average cost. Meaning that, for an example, let's say in the short run, when you're producing this much of a output, these are the average cost that you have to incur. So if you are producing Q1 level of output, this is the minimum average cost to incur, right? If you consider about this Q2, right? So this is the cost that you have to incur in a very simple way, right? So when you are producing Q3 level of output, this is the cost that you have to incur, right? So when it comes to the short run, for each and every level of plant size, right? In a very simple way, plant size means it could be your machineries, it could be your factory. So you are producing a given level of output in a particular plant size. Accordingly, these are the average cost that you have to incur in the short run. Is that clear? Right. Now, when you're producing this much of the output, right, in the short run, automatically, right, you come into your long run in a very simple way. You are producing Q1 output level, Q2 output level, and you are generating sufficient sales, sufficient cash flows, and again you are producing Q1 level of output, right? So likewise, automatically, you are coming to your long run. Right? You are coming to your long run. So what we could do is in a very simple way, these are the minimum cost points of your short run average cost curves. What we could do, we can combine all minimum cost points in your short run average cost curves, and we are considering it as your long run average cost. That's your long run. So this is your long run, and these are the short run average cost that you have. Clear? So accordingly, we are saying when you are passing, when you are going through along your long run average cost curves or cost curve, you are passing different short run average cost curves. You are passing different short run average cost curves. Is that clear? So this is simply what long run average cost curve means. It represents the lower cost amounts that a company could incur when they are producing a given level of output. When they are producing a given level of output. So accordingly, this is your long run average cost curves, right? Long run average cost curve. Clear? Then I ask you a small question here. Now let's assume that when you are producing Q1 level of output, right? When you are producing Q1 level of output, Q1 level of output, your cost could either be this or your cost could either be this. Agree to disagree? Agree to disagree? When you are producing Q1 level of output, your cost could either be this amount and this amount. Clear? In a very simple way, if I put it very simply again, let's say you are producing Q1 level of output, and for that you are going to incur 50 million, and the same output could be produced by incurring 100 million, right? Because you could see the curve is there, right? Curve is there. As a rational businessman, what is the cost category? I mean, what is the cost amount that you pick? Is it this one or this one? This one or short run average cost 1 or short run average cost 2? 1. Why? Because it's for you to produce this much of output, you have to incur this much. Isn't it? No need to incur this much. Clear? And let's consider about this angle as well. Right? So you are going to produce Q2 level of output. And here, if you draw a curve from Q2 output level to above, you could see there's a cost curve again. Let's assume it is 40 million. And if you go along, you are going to meet another cost curve. Let's say it's 150 million. So what is the cost structure that you pick, cost amount that you pick? Is it this one or this one? 40 million one. Right? It's 40 million. Right? So that is the minimum cost. So now I'm showing you how this minimum cost amount is coming, right? So when if you look at Q3 level of output, what do you think? Q3 level of output. So this is the minimum cost for you to produce that output level. Clear? So what we do, we draw a particular curve by joining all these minimum short-run average cost, and we say it as our long-run average cost curve. Clear? Right, good. Sometimes we call this as envelope curve, envelope curves. Right, you may write these down, huh? Envelope curves. And for our short-run average cost, we say those are the plant curves. Plant curves. Why? We are producing this much of output level in a particular plant. This is the cost. We are producing this much of output level in a particular plant. Accordingly, this is the minimum cost. We are producing this much of output level in a particular plant. Accordingly, this is the minimum cost. So when it comes to the short-run cost curves, we call them as plant curves. Why? It's representing a particular cost amount that a producer could produce in a particular plant. Clear? So this is simply what is your long run average cost. It represents the lowest cost figures that a company could use to produce a particular output level. And it's a collection of all of your short run lowest average cost amounts. So it's U-shaped, right? So your short run average cost curves are U-shaped. Yes, online students, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, very clear.
Can you see the whiteboard properly today?
Yeah, we can see it today.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's clear today, sir.
Okay, fine, great. So if there is any issue, please let me know, right?
Okay, thank you, sir.
By you can call me here or you can text your group and please tell me.
Okay, thank you,
Yes,
sir.
fine, great, thank you. Right, so if you have any doubt, you can ask. Huh? Yeah, area, anything, huh? Anything. Yeah. Anything that you need to ask? Or is this clear?
Excuse me, sir.
Easy. Easy, right? It's very easy, isn't it? Right, okay, so then the next one is we have to discuss about the profit maximizing output based on certain approaches. And we have to look at economies and diseconomies of scales. So what we do, we are going to discuss these things in your next lesson, right? Next lesson. So that's the end of your cost of production part, right? Cost of production part. If I give you a summary again, so please check whether you are okay with these things. Just ask from yourself whether you are sound in these aspects, even though these things are very simple, right? Right. Cost of production means what? The cost that a particular company has to incur when they do a production in a particular point of time, right? So there could be short run production and long run production. So when it comes to the short run, we are having two types of inputs, fixed inputs and variable inputs. Accordingly, we are having fixed cost as well as variable cost, and that is equals to our short run cost. Then, even though we have these total figures, as a business economist or as a managers, we need to make decisions. So what we need to do, we need to bring all these big amounts into smaller quantities, which represents one cost unit. Clear? So accordingly, what we did, we have calculated average cost figures, right? We have calculated average variable cost, average fixed cost, and the summation of these two equals to what? The average cost. So why we need average cost? Because we need to add the profit margin to analyze or to arrive at our market price per unit, right? So then we drew that particular curves and we explain why these curves behaving like this, even for fixed cost as well as variable cost. Then we discuss about the relationship between average product and average cost. And also we discuss about the relationship between marginal cost and marginal product. So here you could say that when the average product and marginal product increases, cost decreases because of the efficiency. But after some time, when you're doing the same thing, your average product and the marginal product decreases. At that time, what will happen? Your marginal cost and average cost increases. Clear? So then today we start with the discussion of identifying the relationship between two cost curves. That is our average cost curve as well as marginal cost curve. Yeah, average cost curve and the marginal cost curve. So we could say that when our average cost decreasing, marginal cost also decreasing, or could be increased or more, and simultaneously other way around. Right. So finally, we discussed about our long run cost, right? Long run cost. When it's come to the long run, we got to know that we are only having variable inputs, right? So we drew this particular curve to identify how to derive our long run average cost. So actually it's a collection of our short run average cost. So when you are moving from this point to this point on your long run average cost curve, you are going to need different short run average cost curves. Clear? So that's the final thing that we have. Okay. Clear? Picture perfect? Fine.
Excuse
Okay,
me, sir.
so shall we start our next lesson?
Excuse me, sir.
Need a break? No break. Nick? So we'll start. Right.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, so online students, is that okay? You can download the other lecture materials. Yes. Are you all okay with these things?
Excuse me, sir.
Sorry.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes, I can.
So one small thing,
Yeah.
just want to ask, in the long run average cost, I just need to ask whether this SAC1 curve and the three curves which you drawn, yeah, are they in different scales or the scale is getting increased by the time or not
Yeah,
clear
you're
in
asking
that?
the short run average cost curve, right?
Yeah, the three curves,
Yes, yes.
are they getting, the scale is getting increased or not, sir?
Yes, it's representing different scales or different plant sizes.
That means compared to Q2 compared to Q1, the Q2 output scale is higher than the Q1, right, sir?
Yes, yes, yes. Little by little, you are
Okay.
moving to the long run
Okay, sir. Thank
based
you.
on the given level of plant size.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right, okay, thanks. Right, okay, fine. Shall we start? I think you all can see this. Right, okay, fine. So let's start. So now, when it comes to your business economics syllabus, we have successfully completed 2 lessons. The first one is, first lesson is what? Your first lesson is what? Business firms and production decisions. Thank you very much. I'm saying to myself, right? So your second lesson is what? Cost of production, right? So we have successfully completed 2 lessons. So now from today onwards, we are going to discuss about market structures, right? Today onwards, we are going to discuss about market structures. So I want to tell you the roadmap in a very simple way because you need to know from where are you heading, right? So when it comes to the market structures, we are going to discuss about 4 types of market structures. Those are perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, and finally oligopoly market structures. Clear? Right. Okay. So let's see how it goes. Now here you could see perfect competition market structure. This is the first part that we are going to discuss. And these are the learning outcomes. Now, what do you mean by learning outcomes? Yes. What do you mean by learning outcomes? What are the things that you could perform once you complete this particular lesson? What we are expecting from you, right? What you have to do in a very simple way. So what are the things? Simply identify the characteristics of perfect competition market structures. Then the second one is discuss profit maximization and the competitive firms supply curve. The short run shutdown decision, entry and exit in the long run. describe and illustrate the equilibrium under perfect competitive market structure. So these are the things you are going to know. So if you are not familiar with these terminologies, don't worry. In the process of learning, you can be a master definitely if you follow it properly. So these are the learning outcomes. Learning outcomes, right? Now to achieve those learning outcomes, we have categorized your entire topic into these subtopics. You could see we are going to discuss about the introduction part, then perfect competition, demand curve, right? Equilibrium of the firm under perfect competition, short-run behavior of the firm under perfect competition, shutdown point, right? Then short-run supply curve. Then finally, we are going to look at the long-run equilibrium of the firm under perfect competition. These are the subtopics that we are going to do, right? Okay. So let's start with the introduction part. Right now, our topic is what? Our topic is what? Perfect competitive market structures. Now, before we learn about perfect competitive market structures, we need to have some fair understanding about these market structures, right? What are these market structures? Now, if you look at the real world, right? The things which are there around us, right? Now, there are different types of market structures, right? If you consider about, you know, fruit sellers, right? Fruit sellers or vegetable sellers, it's a different kind of a thing, isn't it? It's a different kind of a thing, right? Then if you look at in the Sri Lankan context like some of the companies like gas industry, right? Gas industry. Then if you consider about these petroleum, so that's coming under a different market structure, right? Different market structure. Then what are other things? Fruit sellers and vegetable sellers are there, and gas industry. Then you have the petroleum industry. So if you look at the other angle, these are some of the examples. There could be many other different examples. But if you look at something like restaurants, right? McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, right? Restaurants, and even if you look at salons, right? So it's a different market structure. I will explain how you could differentiate these things, right? Different market structure, salon and restaurants. Clear? Then, if you look at again in Sri Lankan context, let's look at now even you could consider here Apple, Microsoft, something like that, right? So we know that we have Dialog, Mobitel, right? Those are some of the companies. Again, that part is coming under a different industry, right? Different industry. Now, what happens now in economics? Markets and industries are same, right? We are referring to market and it is also industry. Both are same. Market and industry are same in economics. Okay. So you have this type of industry in the market, this type of industry, and this type of industry in the market. In a very simple way, there could be other methods as well. I want to make it very simple, right? Now, if you look at the very beginning, right? Now, each and every industry, right? They are producing a particular output and they have a price for that output. And if you look at these restaurants as well, they are producing a particular output as well as they have a price. And here also, they are producing a particular output level and they have a price. Here also, output is there and the price. Okay, so you could see that now these are four different industries or four different markets. Now within those markets, what they do, they are deciding the output that they are going to produce as well as the price. Here also they are deciding the output and the price. Here also they do the same thing. Right? Here also they do the same thing. But when it's come to the determination of output and when it's come to the determination of price, there are severe differences. There are severe differences. If you look at this gas industry and petroleum industry, what do you think? Sometimes they may have the power to decide the price, right? In a very simple way. But if you look at fruit sellers and vegetable sellers, what do you think? Sometimes they can decide the price, or sometimes they have to agree to a particular price. And here also the same. Here also the same. Accordingly, there are basically four industries that I have written here, and they are producing different products, right? And they are in the process of determining their prices in a different way. Though you could see output and price, output and price, output and price in all these four areas, there's a process of determining those output and prices based on the industry. For you to learn that, that is why we are going to learn about market structures. To learn how each and every market in the industry is determining their level of output and determining their prices. Clear? Because of the differences prevailing in each and every industry. Clear? That is the main reason why you are learning these market structures. Okay? Good. Now, why perfect competition? There is something called perfect competition. At the very beginning, I told you, it's not a real marketplace. Right? Perfect competition is not a real marketplace. But if you look at the world, what do you mean? All the things are perfect or imperfect in this world. What do you think? All the things are perfect or imperfect? Huh? Perfect or imperfect? Perfect. Perfect or imperfect? I can't hear the in. Yes, perfect or imperfect? How do you say? Do you know the what? Do you know the meaning of perfection? For you to say something is imperfect, you need to know the perfection. Am I correct? Then do you know what is perfect? Huh? Do you know what is the meaning of perfect? For sometimes, for some situations, we know, eh? Not all the things. Sometimes, for some things, we know what is perfection. Right, good. So you have some idea. Now, if you look at the real markets around the world, all are imperfect. In a very simple way, most of the markets are imperfect. For us to say those are imperfect, we need to know what perfect is. Clear? For us to differentiate this is perfect and this is imperfect, we need to know what perfect is. Clear? That's why we are learning at the very beginning about perfect competition. Clear? That is why you are learning this lesson, perfect competition. After this perfect competition lesson, we are going to learn about all the imperfection market structures. For you to say those are imperfect, you need to know what is perfect. For you to know what is perfect, we have the lesson that is perfect competitive market structures. Is that clear? Right? So I think you have an idea about why we are going to learn about market structures in a very simple way. And we are going to, and why we are going to start with perfect competition first. Okay? Right, good. So let's move. Now, some of the things, it's already there. Right, so if we look at this, here it says, the determination of prices and outputs of various products. You could see that I have drawn 4 industries. They are determining their price and outputs in a very simple way. The determination of prices and outputs of various products depend upon the type of the market structure in which they are produced, sold, and purchased. Now, this is a particular market structure. They decide this. This is a particular market structure. They also decide this. Clear? So economists have classified the various market structures prevailing in a capitalist economy into 4 elements. Simply perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly. Right? So then here it says monopolistic competition is highly imperfect and monopoly is the most imperfect form of the market structure. I'm not going to discuss about it right now. We'll discuss it further. Clear? So those are the basic things that you want to know. Now, what do you mean by a market? In a very simple way, market means what? Where buyers and sellers meet together. Okay, good. Are there any answers? Different answers? All agree? All agree? All agree? Buyers and sellers are meeting together. Isn't it? Then it can be considered as a market. For example, let's say I'm going to make an order via PicMe. Right? I'm going to order a particular food item. Am I going to meet the seller? Am I going to meet the seller? No. Right? Good, huh? So simply, market means what? As you correctly mentioned, buyers and sellers must be there. And there must be an interconnection between those two. So nowadays, we are not discussing about meeting the seller and doing the transactions. It's all about having an interconnection between these two. So when I'm doing an online order, right, I'm just processing the order. I'm just sending the order, and those people accepted it and process it, and I can get the order. Right. So I'm not going to meet the seller, but there's an interconnection. I send the order and they process. Okay. So interconnection is there. So nowadays we are saying there must be an interconnection between the buyer and the seller, but it does not mean that physical existence may not be there. Could be there. So when we go to the grocery, seller is there and the buyer. Right. So we are meeting together. Clear? Right. So here it says when it's come to the market, economists understand by the term market not any particular marketplace in which things are bought and sold. Right? Not a particular marketplace, but the whole of any region in which buyers and sellers are in such free intercourse with one another that the price of the same goods tend to equality easily and quickly in a very simple way. Right? So when I'm going to import a car from abroad, let's say Japan, I'm not going to meet the seller. It's just a matter of preparing the LCs and other relevant documents, right? So this interconnection must be there to consider it as a market. Okay, clear? Then what are the basic requirements of a market? What are the basic requirements? There must be a commodity. Otherwise, what to sell and what to purchase, simply, right? So there must be a commodity. Product must be there. And the existence of buyers and sellers, right? So you need to have a product, you need to have sellers, and you need to have buyer. You have buyers and a place, right? It be a region, country, or the entire world, right? Be a place. Sometimes online transactions could also be there, but traditionally we know that place must be there. Such contact between the buyers and sellers that only one price should prevail for the same commodity at the same time. So what is the other one? First one is there must be a product, There must be a commodity. And the second one is sellers must be there and the buyers must be there. And the third one is better to have a place, but it is not essential. And the third one is same price must be there for the same product. Can you see the final one? In the world, I mean, not only Sri Lanka, the other countries as well. Yes, online students, is the final thing prevailed in your countries, right? Same price for the same product. Is there? Yes. Same price for the same product. Can you see such things in your countries? Yes, Karunaratna, what do you think, Pura? Other one, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Right, so what you could see, can you see such kind of a thing in your country? Same price for the same product in a same time. Can you observe?
Mm,
Yes? Can't hear you.
Maybe some situations, yes.
Okay, fine. Right, okay. So these are the basic requirements. It's very difficult to find the same price for the same product. It's very difficult. Right, okay. So could you please read and understand this? Please make a note. Yes, please read and please check whether you're okay with these things. Please read. And if you have any doubt, any question, you can ask. Is there any issue? Same product. Example, let's say a very simple coconut. That coconut must be sold at the same price in each and every way. That thing, but if you look at coconut, would be 60, column 120. Not just price, but we call it as inefficient. Different prices. Right, yes. Are you all okay? Fine. Clear? Right, yes, online students, are you all okay? Yes, online students.
Yeah, sir. One question, sir. In the last point that you have explained,
Yeah.
Can it be prevail in the practical market, sir? That is in the same price for the same
Yes.
product at the same time?
Yes, yes, very good, very good. It's not practical actually. So market inefficiencies are there sometimes to earn a huge profits margin, even though the cost is same, you are selling your product in a different prices. And it is not, we cannot find such things in a practical marketplace.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine, good.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Nice students. Now, what you say is, disseminating each and everywhere. So we have a nice speaker right now. Right. Okay, fine, good. Thanks. Okay, so now let us look at the classifications of market structures. Right, classifications of market structures. Now, at the very beginning, we got to know that if you look at the real world, there could be different markets, right? There could be different markets as well as different industries. Now, how we can categorize a particular company or an industry? Yes, this belongs to this industry. Likewise, we want to categorize. Okay. Now we are saying that petroleum, gas, it looks like which type of a market structure? I didn't say, you said it's monopoly, right? So it's correct, right? So you have some idea, right? Yes, this company or this industry could be considered as monopoly or not, right? Then if you look at this dialogue, Mobitel, and again, based on certain characteristics, that company belongs to another marketplace. So we need to know what are the criteria that we could use to categorize these market structures. Clear? Now the first one is number of firms producing a product. Number of firms producing a product. Now, if you look at, let us take the same example. If you look at these food sellers and vegetable sellers, can you count how many sellers are there? In a very simple way, we cannot, because there are many sellers as well as many buyers, right? As well as to sell the product, as well as to purchase the product. So that is one category, number of firms producing a particular product. But if you look at this gas industry, how many companies are there in Sri Lanka? How many companies? Two companies. Okay. There are two companies. Now, Litro. Then if you look at petroleum industry, how many companies? How many companies? So we are having Tipetco, IOC, La. Right? Very simple way, right? So, right? So here you have many sellers, but here only countable. It's very it's very, it's 1, 2, 3, something like that. Clear? Then if you look at restaurants and salons, we have many. We have many restaurants and many salons. And if you look at this type of a companies, telecommunication industry, yes, we have big but few companies. Big but few. So that is the first criteria that we are going to look at. Number of firms producing a product. Is that clear? Second one is nature of the product. Nature. Now, what do you mean by the nature of the product? Now, in the market, there's a person called Mr. Nimal. He's selling mangoes. And there's another particular person called Mr. Sunil. He is also selling mangoes. Can you differentiate these Sunil's mango, these, what is the other name? Nimal's mango? Can you separate these two? Why? You told, not me. The product is same. The product is identical. So we call it as product is homogeneous. Right? Homogeneous. Product is exactly same. Exactly same. You cannot differentiate. These are my mangoes. These are not your mangoes. You can't. Clear? On the other hand, you could say now we are having HP laptops, Asus laptops, Dell laptops, Bio, Acer. Is the product same? All are laptops, but can you differentiate it? Yes. You can differentiate based on the sellers and based on the specification that it has. Right? If you look at HP's, there are many series. If you look at Acer, many series. Right? So we call it as what? Differentiation. Right? Differentiation. Same product, but many features. Right? You are differentiating your product from one another. Right? So we are saying some laptops are better than others, right? Because of the differentiation ability. that the companies have. Clear? So accordingly, that is the second criteria. Based on the nature of the product, we can segregate these market structures. Clear? So here, when it comes to these vegetable sellers, mostly we are saying it's homogeneous, identical. We cannot differentiate. What do you think about these fellows? No differentiation, but the product is very significant one. It's a very essential one to us. We cannot differentiate, right? It's very difficult. Right? What do you think about these restaurants and salons? You can differentiate. Right? How you differentiate? McDonald's is there, they're having their own burger. Burger King, they're having their own burger. Right? Different restaurants are having same product, but they are providing it in a different way. Right? So if you look at pizza, we are having Domino's pizza, Pizza Hut, Others pizza, many things. Differentiation, even salons. Even salons. What are the examples for salons? By looking at the particular bride, we can identify which salon this bride belongs to. So that kind of a differentiation is there. Right? And this is the other one. Dialogue and Mobitel. So those are some of the examples. We'll see how we can analyze that part. Clear? So this is the second criteria that we could use based on the nature of the product. Second criteria. And the third one is what? Significance of barriers to entry to the firms in the industry. Barriers. Now, let's assume that you get up in the early morning and you felt like better to open the egg store. Can you do it? Simple, no? How you could do it? Quickly go to the food city and purchase 650 egg packet, come, put up a small table, you can sell. Right? Simply, you can easily enter into that market. But what do you think? Once you get up in the morning and you decided, now we are having this gas issue, let us put a gas stove. What do you think? Can you do it? You can't. Why? Now, you said that you can easily put up an egg stove. Yes, it's correct. Why? Because it's much closer to you. Much closer to you. You know everything regarding that. But if you look at gas industry, we don't know. Simply we don't know. So accordingly, when it comes to some industries, it is very easy for us to enter into that industry. But some industries are there. It is very difficult to enter. Even capital requirement could also be high. Clear? So that is the third criteria that we could use to categorize. So simply differentiate these market structures. And the other one is the extent to which the individual firm have control over the price of their product. Simply whether a particular company can decide the price or not. So when it comes to this perfect competition, we are saying that the firm is not deciding the price, right? But other companies, they may have some sort of autonomy for them to decide the price, right? Now, if HP company is producing a different kind of laptops, right, which can differentiate themselves from others, is it difficult to decide the price? Ethical means, do they have right to decide the price? They have, because they are producing something which is different from others. So they have the right to decide their price. But some, they don't have that kind of a right to decide the price. Right, so we'll learn what are those things, and this is the fourth criteria that we are using, whether a particular industry can decide the price of the product or not. Right? So these are the basic four criteria that we are using. The first one is number of firms producing a particular product. The second one is nature of the product. It could be a homogeneous, which means 100% same. And the other one is differentiated products. The third one is significance of the barriers to enter into the market. And the final one is whether they can decide the price of their product or not. Okay. Right. Is it clear? Right. Four things that you won't remember right here. Very simple. So let's start with the perfect competitive market structures. Don't read these things, huh? Right. So let's start with the perfect competitive market structures. Now you know why we are learning these market structures Why we are learning this perfect competition? What is a market? What are the basic requirements of a market? And how we can categorize the market structures. We have learned about 4 criteria. There could be many, but here we have learned 4. So let's start with the perfect competition. So don't beat this, huh? So once you look at this particular picture, what you could see by looking at this picture, what are the things that you can say? We look at these elements, huh? Right? What are the things that you could say by looking at this particular picture? Is it a market? Huh? Food city. Is it a market? Huh? Is it a market? Yes, it's a market. Huh? It's a market. Good. So it's a market. That's the first thing that you want to get. Then what are other things that you could see? Who are these people? Who are these people? They are also sellers. The position is different. Huh? So they are selling their product from here. They are selling their product from there. So you have sellers. How many sellers? Can you count? Can you count? Which means there are many sellers, isn't it? Many sellers. And who are these people? Buyers. Can you count? Can you count? Don't count. Just see whether you could do it. Can you count? No, in a very simple way, you can't count. So meaning that there are many sellers and many buyers. And what do you think about the product? If you look at this product, is it a product? Yes. What do you think? Is it available in each and everywhere? Mostly yes. Can you differentiate? You can't differentiate. Right? Yes. Right. So you can't differentiate. Right? Simply you have many buyers, you have many sellers, and the product is almost same, identical. Clear? So we call this type of a market as perfect competition in a very simple way. You have many buyers, you have many sellers, and the product is homogeneous. Can you easily enter into this type of a market? Yes, you can easily enter. That is another feature. Correct? So there are many buyers and sellers, and the product is almost same, 100% similar, homogeneous, and you can enter into this type of a market structure very easily. So based on those features, we can recognize this as a perfect competition market structure. But perfect competition is not a real marketplace. We could consider this fair as a close substitute for the perfect competition. Close substitute for the perfect competition, because we have learned this now. Clear? Right. Perfect competitive market structure. So here it says, in a very simple way, perfect competition is an extreme form of market structure. Why extreme? Because it's perfect. Right? Market structure in which forces of demand and supply work quite freely to determine the allocation of resources and the distribution of income among factors, because everything is perfect in this market structure. Resource allocation is perfect, we assume, right? Resource allocation is perfect, distribution of income is perfect, everything is perfect in this market structure, but it is not practical. For us to understand the imperfections in reality, we have to learn about this perfect competition. Clear? Right, so you could see that in a perfect competition, the degree of competition is so high that no individual can influence the price of their product. Now what it says, they cannot decide the price of their product. Why? Now, if I took the previous example, let's say there are 2 stalls, Nimal is here, Sunil is here, they are selling mangoes. Can there be a differentiation in the prices? Let's assume the same type of mango, same type of mango. Would there be a difference between the prices? Can Nimal sell higher than Sunil? can Sunil sell lower price than Nimal? Can or can't? Practically it happens, but considering about this, the product is homogeneous. Simply what I sell equals to others. Right? So similarly, I cannot differentiate the price. So therefore they don't have any influence over the price. So here it says, this means that no firm is able to affect the price of the product by varying its level of output. So simply they cannot decide their price. The firm therefore takes the price of the product as given and constant for it. Accordingly, when it's come to the perfect competition market structure, we say those companies are price takers, right? Those companies are price takers. Whatever the price prevail in the market, they have to accept it, right? They have to accept it. I will show it to you. Is that okay if I erase this? Okay, fine. Right. So here you could see now, yes, economics students, right? Listen, economics students, how we determine the price in the market? How we determine the price in the market? Right. So here you have your price, here you have your quantity. How we determine the price in the market? Huh? Based on what is this curve? Very good. This is your supply curve. What is this curve? This is your demand curve. Accordingly, you could see there's an equilibrium point here. So let's say it's 50, right? And 100 units of a particular product are being sold at this price, right? So this is the market determined price. Market determined price. Now, when it's come to the perfect competition, what happens? This is the company's graph. Here you have the price, here you have the quantity. Now I told you that perfect competitive firms are price takers. They cannot decide their price. Accordingly, what they have to do, now the market price for a particular product is 50. Right? So what they have to do, they have to take that price as it is. Right? They have to take that price as it is, and they need to sell whatever the quantity at this price per unit. Clear? So this is why we say the perfect competitive market structures are price takers. The market price has been decided by the demand and supply, right? They have to take that price and sell whatever the level of quantity, right? Whatever the level of quantity. Clear? So this is the demand curve of a perfect competitive firm. Perfect competitive firm. So that is why here it says it is therefore often referred as price takers. Price takers. Right, so please read these two slides and check whether you're okay up to now. Right, okay, fine. Clear? Yes, online students, are you all okay?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Any doubts? Any doubts that you need to ask? Anything, any misclarifications?
No, sir.
Okay, fine, good. Okay, clear? Right. But if you look at the practical situation, this won't there. This won't there. That's why we say this is an assumption. Right. Right. Let us look at what are the features or the characteristics of a perfect competition market structure. If the market is said to be perfect, these are the features of it. And the first one is there must be large number of buyers and sellers, right? So meaning that if you wish to go to one particular seller, you could go and pick. And if you dislike with that particular seller, you can go to another one and you can pick the product. This is the first feature of the perfect competitive market structures. Large number of firms are there, right? Large number of firms are there. And here, if you look at the fruit sellers and vegetable sellers, those are not exactly 100% same to the perfect competition, but closely subscribed. So many fruit sellers, many vegetable sellers are there. And as a buyers, there are many buyers to go and purchase such products. And the other one is homogeneous. Homogeneous means what? The product is almost same, identical. What I sell is 100% equal to what he sells. Clear? If you look at these vegetables, same thing happens. Right? Fruits also, same thing happens, assuming that they all are in the good quality. Homogeneous products. That is the second feature of this market. Right? So here it says different firms produce and sell homogeneous products, same products. So that buyers have no preference for the product of any firm. We don't have any preference. Okay? If Nimal sells mango and if Sunil sells mango, yes. They can choose any of the seller and go and purchase because the product is same. So there is no any competitive advertising, no brands, no patents. We don't want to. Why do we need to have any advertising? Right? Our product is not differentiated from others. Nothing to do with that. No patents or any other feature that makes one product looks different from other. So since all the products are same, we don't want user marketing, isn't it? In a very simple way. So those are the first two features. We have large number of firms, homogeneous products. And the third one is perfect knowledge. Perfect knowledge. What do you mean by that? Perfect knowledge. Now, in a very simple way, you might have experienced this during these days. So even April last year, starting from last year, April to present, right? Sometimes you go to the stores, sometimes your parents go to the stores or shops and they are saying that the prices are high, isn't it? Prices are high. So how they say such thing? Prices are high. What do you think? They go to the food city or they go to a particular fair or a shop or a grocery and they purchase the products and come. And they say that, yes, look at this, prices are really high. How they determine that prices are really high? Yes? Yes, in a very simple way, they know the prices. Because if you look at these perfect competitive market structures, those are very close market structures of the day-to-day life, isn't it? So we know everything regarding the prices, from where this particular product is coming from, what are the inputs that these products need, what about the cost, everything we know. And also sellers, they also know. They also know that customers are knowledgeable guys. They know everything regarding this. So this perfect knowledge is there in this type of a market structure. Right? We know everything. We know everything. We know what is the price of 250 grams of carrot, potatoes, and everything in a very simple way. But what do you think about something like petroleum? Can we determine the cost of their production? Can we even predict their profit margin? We can't. So the perfect knowledge is not there in such kind of market. But here, this very close market structure for us, because we are going to such kind of a places day to day, right? So perfect knowledge is also there. So you could see that both sellers and buyers possess perfect knowledge and information about the current cost of production that must be incurred on producing the product and the price at which the product will be sold in the market. Same thing we know. In fact, all other economic facts are known to buyers and sellers. So perfect information is also there. That is the third feature of this kind of a market structure. Then the final one is what? Pre-entry and pre-exit. So as I told you earlier, you have decided to put up a egg store. So what you could do is you can easily do it. And after 12 o'clock, you felt like it is, yes, better to go and have a sleep. You can just close down your egg store and you go and sleep. Very simple, right? You can enter into this type of a market very easily, as well as you can exit out of these market structures or these type of a companies very easy. So that is what here it says. There is a free entry and free exit from the market or industry. Both are same. If the firms desire, they can also easily leave the industry. So workers have perfect mobility. They can change employment from one firm or industry to another quite freely. They can move. That the mobility is there. They can easily move themselves from one company to another company. Okay. So these are the basic features of a perfect competitive market structure. Large number of firms are there and homogeneous products are there. Perfect knowledge is there and free entry and free exit is there. Okay. Right. Right. So let us move to, I'll give some time for you to read this. Right. Now we got to know about their demand curve as well. So let us discuss about their demand curve and I will give you an interval sharp at 3:30. 3 o'clock. Is the usual practice? No, we are giving 3 o'clock, isn't it? Is it 3 o'clock or 2:30? So we'll make it 3. It's easy. Right, so 2:40, 2:30, 2:45, we'll make it 3. Right, so fine. Right, so these are the basic features. So let us look at the demand curve of a perfect competitive market structure. Right. Okay, so here, this is what you could see also here. Right, so this is their demand curve. Whatever the output that they are going to sell, per unit price is equals to how much? It's same. Per unit price is same. So here it says the first two conditions of perfect competition ensure that single price must prevail under perfect competition. So what are the first two conditions? There are large number of firms and the products are same. Okay? Accordingly, you cannot differentiate your product from another. As a result, all of you have to charge the same price. Right? All of you have to charge the same price. So that is what here it says. The first two conditions of perfect competition ensure that single price must prevail under perfect competition. And the demand curve or the average revenue curve. So this is their demand curve. We'll see why we consider it as an average revenue curve as well. Faced by an individual firm under perfect competition is perfectly elastic at the ruling price in the market. Now here you should say it's perfect elastic, right? I believe that you have learned these things. Elasticity is, right, perfect elastic based on the given price in the market, right? So if the firm increases its prices slightly above the ruling price, it will lose all its customers to its rivals. So once you increase your products, once you increase your price more than this price, what will happen? Your customers may switch to other companies or other competitors. Clear? Right. Okay, so here you could see, because it can sell as much as it likes at the prevailing price, it has no incentive to lower down the price because it has been already decided and he can sell whatever the quantity he wants at this price. Without being able to increase the price and having no incentive to lower it, the firm is content to accept the ruling price in the market. He cannot do anything in a very simple way, right? Because there are many sellers in the market and all the products are same. So he has to accept the given price and sell the product. Once the market is established, the firms accept the price as given data and adjust its output level, which gives the maximum profit, which gives him a maximum profit. Anyway, this is the price that he has to charge. Now, if I ask you a small question, now what do you think about the profits of these type of companies? They cannot decide the price. What do you think? What do you think? How they determine their profits? I mean, in a very simple way, without going much analysis. In play, they cannot decide the price of their product. Whatever the quantity that they are going to sell has to be sold based on the given price. So what are the things that they could use to maximize their profits? Cost. Yes, very good. What is that? Reduction in cost. Is that correct? So how you calculate your profits? Usually how you calculate your profits in a very simple way. Your profits equals to expenditure minus income, or income minus expenditure. Income minus expenditure. Right? This is how you calculate your profits. But here, how you calculate your income? It's simply your selling price into quantity. A very simple way. Selling price into quantity. But here, you cannot change your selling price. Right? Even though you produce different level of output, your selling price is constant. So what you could do, better to reduce your expenditure as much as possible. Thereby, you can increase your profits. Clear? In a very simple way. Understood? So profit is calculated based on income and expenditure. Whatever thing that you have to do, you have to adjust these two. Right? You have to adjust these two. Right. Okay. So please read the features and the demand curve of the perfect competitive market structures. And meantime, if you have any questions to ask, you can ask. Yes, any doubts? Yes, okay. This is some of the things that I'm going to give you later. Yes. No, okay, it's 3 o'clock. Okay. Top 3, yeah. Time will be again. Right, okay. Right, so now let us look at some figures. Right, let us look at some figures. Now we are going to discuss about the demand curve in a perfect competitive market structure. We got to know that it is perfect elastic. Right. Now here you could see that the company is going to sell this type of outputs 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. And because of the assumption in the market, price per unit is same, right? Price per unit is same. How much? It's 25, right? So whatever the quantity that you are going to sell, the unit price is same. Unit price is same. Then you could see this is your total revenue. How you calculate your total revenue? Simply price multiplied by the quantity. Your total revenue is 250 to 1,250, right? 1,250. So those are very basic things. Thereafter, you have something called MR and AR. What do you mean by MR? Your marginal revenue. Shall I erase this? I know what you don't. Right. Okay, fine. So how do you calculate your MR? Marginal revenue. How do you calculate? Marginal revenue equals to, if you change your sales, what would be the change in your total revenue? So this is simply what? Your marginal cost. And how do you calculate your average revenue? Total revenue, you are going to divide it by quantity, right? Total revenue, you are going to divide it by quantity. So here you could say your marginal revenue is 25, right? In each and every quantity. And if you look at your average revenue, it is also same. It is also 25. And your marginal revenue equals to your average revenue, and that is equals to your price. Clear? So in a perfect competitive market structure, your price equals to your demand curve, right? And it is equals to your marginal revenue curve. Clear? So this is the behavior of your total revenue. It's upward sloping. But if you look at your price average revenue and the marginal revenue, it's 25, right? It's 25. So how do you prove this? So how you, now this is the way that you calculate your total revenue. Sorry, marginal revenue. How do you calculate your change in total revenue? How do you calculate your total revenue? Price into quantity. Can you change the price? You can't change the price. Price is fixed. But you can change the quantity. Divide by change in quantity. Clear? Divide by change in quantity. Then, if you look at your average revenue, how you calculate your total revenue? It's simply price into quantity. Divide by quantity. So here what happens? You can easily settle this one with this one with this one. Then you have your MR equals to AR equals to P. Okay. MR equals AR equals P. Right? Price of the product. Mathematically, this is how we prove it. Right? Mathematically, this is how we prove it. And this is the graphical illustration for us to prove that one. Fundamentals are price equals to marginal revenue, and that is equals to average revenue. In their demand curve. This is their demand curve, and this is also their average revenue curve. This is also their marginal revenue. This is also their price. And so we need this particular information for our further analysis. Right, so if you have any doubt, you can ask. These online students, any doubts? Anything that you need to ask?
No, sir.
Right. Okay. Fine. Then I ask a question. Are you fine? Okay. Otherwise, I'm not question. Right. So yes, now simply you know their demand curve is perfect elastic. Why it's perfect elastic? They cannot decide the price of their product. They are the price takers. Whatever the price that has been determined in the market, they have to accept and sell their product accordingly to that price. Right? So therefore, this is their demand curve. It's perfect elastic. Right? Then this is how we could prove that their price equals to average revenue, marginal revenue. So this is their normal behavior of their total revenue curve. And this is their price, marginal revenue, average revenue, and even their demand curve. Clear? Okay, so we'll have a break. Right, okay, we'll have a break, and the time is exactly 3:50. $3.50. 3:15, now. You're not going to play, right? 3:15, now. Okay, online students, now we are going to have an interval. So we'll meet sharp at 3:50 local time.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, just small question, sir.
Yeah.
In the exam, sir, if in the exam paper, if it is asked to draw a chart or something and explain based on that chart, how
Yes.
we can, because as if I'm not mistaken, the exam will be online exam, sir. Then if they ask to draw a chart or something and explain based on that chart, how we can draw the charts or these kind of things in that examination paper, sir? Do you have any idea how will it works?
Yeah. Now, usually, what's your name?
Gayan.
Right, Diane. Yes, now usually, as you mentioned,
Mhm.
usually you have to draw these things when it comes to the examination.
Yeah.
And the other one is based on the way that your examination is going to be conducted. Is it finalized?
Still not, sir, because as per the information received, since we are in a overseas student, they will conduct in online exam, but still not confirmed.
Right, so based on the way, we'll decide how it comes. Right, if it is a
Yes.
paper based, obviously you could. Now, if it is an online examination as well, we'll see how the possibility of the possibility of providing answers for such kind of a question.
Yes, sir, because other subject also like what you call this economics subject also, there are a lot of charts and
Of course, yes,
yes,
yes.
that's why I just want to get some idea.
So that's the issue, no? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
We'll discuss about it.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
sir.
okay. Yes, online students, are you all there? We are going to start the session.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you all there? Okay,
Yes.
fine. Right, yes, all of you had something, even online students, at your breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Yes,
Yes, sir.
great. Yes, you guys had something. Right, okay. Okay, shall we start? Problem is over. Problem is over. Okay. Right, can we start? What about others? Are they coming? What about others? Are they coming? Yes. Right. Okay, so we'll start the discussion. Right, so now up to now, you know basic things about market structures, then you know why we are learning these perfect competitive market structures at the very beginning. Because if you look at the real world, most of the market structures are imperfect. So for us to understand such markets are imperfect, we need to know what is perfect. That is why we learn this perfect competitive market structure, and this is an assumption. Even the market is the assumption, right? So we got to know about what are the basic criteria that we could use to categorize these market structures. Then what is a perfect competition market structure and what are their basic features and how to derive their demand curve and simple analysis like this. And we have mathematically proved that the price is equals to average revenue as well as the marginal revenue. And this is the graphical illustration of it. Right? Graphical illustration of it. Right. So then here there's a small statement there. So I'm not going to do it right now. We'll do that much later because this discusses about the long run market, simply the long run aspect of the perfect competitive market structure. For the moment, I'm skip this particular statement because I'm going to discuss this at the end. Right? Okay, so now let us discuss about the equilibrium of the firm under perfect competition. Right? Equilibrium of the firm under perfect competition. Now, equilibrium means the maximum output level that gives you the maximum profit. That is the meaning of equilibrium, right? The output which gives you the maximum level of profits, right? So when we are going to analyze this equilibrium of the firm under perfect competition, basically we have two approaches to look at. Simply profit maximization approaches. There are two. First one is we call it as total revenue and total cost approach. And the other one is marginal revenue versus marginal cost approach. Very simple things. Right. So without reading these things, let us go to an example and let's see what is the meaning of this total revenue and total cost approach. Now our objective is to identify what? Which output that gives the maximum profit for the company. Right? So to analyze it, to capture it, we are using two models. The first one is total revenue and total cost approach, and the other one is marginal revenue versus marginal cost. So this is the first thing that we need to look at. Now, if you this is coming under the total revenue and total cost approach. If you look at this, right? If you look at this particular table, you could see from 1 to 10. So those are the outputs that the company is going to produce. Accordingly, these are the revenues and the cost for each and every output level. Right? And these are the total profits that the company is going to earn. So total profit is simply the difference between total revenue and total cost. So if you look at the first part, when you are going to sell one unit, your total revenue is 45 and your cost is 50. Accordingly, your profit is negative. It's -5. Now, by looking at these figures, what is the selling price of this product? What could be the selling price? By looking at only this table, can you figure out it? It's 45, no? Because if you sell one unit, your total revenue is how much? 45. So accordingly, selling price per unit is 45. And these are the total profits that you are going to earn for each and every quantity. Clear? So what is the maximum profit that you're earning? How much? 110. So 110 is the maximum profit that you're earning. So To earn that much of a profit, how much of quantity that you need to produce or sell? 7 units. So how you got this 110? So that is the situation where the difference between your revenue and the cost is higher. That is your profit, right? The difference between your revenue and the cost is higher. At that point, you are getting the maximum profit, and this is the output level, which is corresponding to your profits. Clear? So accordingly, based on this particular approach, simply total revenue and total cost approach, to maximize the profit, the company must want to produce how much? 7 units. Can't you produce 8 units? Why? If you produce 8 units, your revenue is higher. But the cost is also higher, right? Can you produce 5 units? You can produce, but you have to produce more. Why? If you're only producing 5 units, your profits are 95, but you have the potential to reach up to 110, right? Accordingly, as a rational producer, as a rational manager, you are not only stopping your production below these levels, right? So to get the maximum profits, definitely you need to produce 7, but you are not going beyond these 7 units. Why? Even though your revenue is high, simultaneously your cost increases, accordingly your profits will be lower. Clear? According to this particular approach, you are going to consider the difference between total revenue and total cost, right? And the higher one you are going to fit with the level of output. Okay, very simple. And this is the behavior of your total revenue curve. It's upward sloping, and this is your total cost curve, right? This is your total cost curve. So the gap will be maximized at the point of 7. And this is the behavior of your profit curve, right? This is the behavior. This green color line indicates your profit curves. This one, right? This green color line indicates your profit curve, and you could see that your profits will be maximized at this point, right? And the corresponding output will be how much? 7, right? Corresponding output will be 7, right? So we can read this. Now here it says, a firm is said to be in equilibrium when it has no tendency either to increase or contract its output. Right? So this is the equilibrium point. And as a rational producer, you won't like to produce less and also higher than this. So your equilibrium at this level. So this is the first approach. Total revenue and cost approach. You could say that a firm will fix its output at the level where it is making maximum money profits. So here the maximum money profits is 1110. Sorry, 110. Okay. The firm will maximize its profit at a level of output where the difference between total revenue and total cost is the largest. Simply highest profit. Clear? So this is the total revenue and total cost approach in a very simple way. Okay, right. Now, there are some issues with relevant to this particular approach, because if you look at profits, the term profits is little bit confusing. It could be short-term profits, long-term profits. It could be profits before tax and profit after tax. And even it does not consider about the time value of money, right? For example, if you do a credit sale on 1st of January 2023, let's say 1 million, and are getting the amount maybe 30th September 2023. Sales amount is 1 million, what is the double entry? Sales account credit, account receivable, debit 1 million. So once you're going to receiving the cash, what is the double entry? Cash account debit 1 million. Sales account receivables credit 1 million. Need to consider about the time value of money. Those are some of the issues. This concept of profit. So based on such issues and many things, we have another approach called marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. It's not marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. Marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. Right, marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. Now, please don't read these things. Don't read these things. Like previous, just look at this table, right? Like previous, just look at this table. Now here what happened again, you have the quantity of output that you are going to produce from 1 to 10. And here you have your total cost. You also have your marginal cost, and also you have your marginal revenue, right? Look at the topic, it is marginal revenue and marginal cost. Meaning that you need to know your marginal revenue as well as marginal cost in a very simple way. Clear? Now, this is a perfect competitive market structure. Accordingly, your marginal revenue equals to what? Your marginal revenue equals to price. So here the price is 45. Accordingly, your marginal revenue is equals to 45. Right. Then what else? Now, these are your total cost. Based on your total cost, you can calculate your marginal cost. How? Simply delta total cost divided by delta output level. That is how you calculate your marginal cost, right? So here it says marginal revenue and marginal cost. Here we have those two columns. Marginal cost column is there. Marginal revenue column is also there. Marginal cost curve is also there. Marginal revenue column is also there. And here you could see, since you are considering these marginal revenues and marginal cost, your profits are also marginal, right? Your profits are also marginal. So starting from -5 to it goes till -35. Clear? Marginal profits. Now, as a rational producer, by looking at these particular profit figures, what is the output level that you choose to do your production? Which output level? Earlier it was 7. That is because that is simply the profits. But here, what could be your output level? What could be output level? Which output level you are going to keep on producing? 7. Is there any reason? Is there any reason for that? Is there any reason? Why you said it's 0? Yes, online students, what do you think? Is it? Yes, what do you think? Yes, online students, what do you think? What is the output level that the company would produce?
7.
Output is 7. Is there any reason?
At that point, sir, the marginal cost and marginal revenue will equal.
Okay, fine, good. So,
And at the same time, total cost also.
okay, so we will consider about marginal revenue and marginal cost. Why you said that when the marginal cost is equals to marginal revenue, the company profits will be maximized? The answer is correct. Huh? Why is that? What could be the reason?
It covered all of it, costs. That point, we cover all our costs. After every single product, that is to our.
Okay, fine. Right? Now, for an example, let's say you are going to produce some additional unit, right? You are going to produce an additional unit, and the additional income that you generate is 20 rupees, but you have to additionally incur 45 for that. What do you think? Are you going to produce more? Did you get what I said? Right? You are going to produce, an additional unit, right? By producing, you are going to get an additional income of 20 rupees. But to produce that product, you are incurring an additional cost of 45. Are you satisfied? You are not satisfied, no? Why? You are producing an additional quantity. By producing that additional quantity, you are going to get 20 rupees, but you have to incur 45. 45. You are not satisfied. Then, other way around. You are going to produce the one quantity, and the cost that you have to incur, let's say it's 20 rupees. Additional cost is 20 rupees. And you are getting an additional income of 45. I would like to produce. Like to produce, right? Did you get the difference? Right? Did you get the difference? Then the other one, you are going to produce an additional unit and you have to incur 45 as an expenditure, and you are getting 45 as an income. Will it be okay? Right? So you don't have any enthusiasm to produce more, right? You don't have any enthusiasm to produce more. Why? You get what you spend. Clear? And simultaneously, you are not going to reduce your output level. If you reduce your output level, you are not making your maximum money profits. So since marginal revenue here is equals to marginal cost, we are saying that our profits will be maximized at this point. Is that clear? When the output is 7, all of your answers are correct. Very good. So when the output is 7, the company is going to make their maximum money profits. Their maximum money profits. Clear? Is that okay? Right. So when the marginal revenue is equals to marginal cost, this is a thumb rule that you need to keep in your mind, because for our future, most of our analysis we are using this particular condition. So when the marginal revenue equals to the marginal cost of the company, right? The company is making the maximum profit. Right? So you know what is the reason. When you are getting more and more, you are enthusiastic to produce more. But you are getting little and little, you are producing again. So this is a equilibrium. You are not producing anything beyond that, or producing anything below it. Why? You are getting what you spend. Clear? Is that okay? Yes, online students, are you all okay with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so don't read these things, get the practical idea. Right, accordingly, you could say that since the MR equals to MC, marginal revenue equals to marginal cost, your marginal profits are 0, and at that time you can make the maximum profits if you produce 7 units. Right? Is the same table, and this is the illustration. Right? This is the illustration. Now here you could see, if you look at this particular curve, this blue color line indicates your marginal cost, and this orange color line indicates your marginal revenue, average revenue, price, and the demand, since it's a perfect competitive market structure. If you look at this particular curves, marginal cost and the marginal revenue, now here, there are 2 points where your marginal revenue is tangent with marginal cost. So our condition is marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. So at that time, the content profits is going to be maximized. Now here, there are 2 points where MR equals to MC. Can you see this point as well as this point? So accordingly, which output that you are going to take here? Which output level that you are going to take here? So condition is there, no? So here is also, you could see at this point marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. And again here also you could see that your marginal cost equals to marginal revenue. So which output level that you going to pick to produce? Yeah, it's obviously 7. Right, so we have decided it's as 7. Now simply this is the output that we are going to produce. Now, if you look at here, let's consider why we cannot take this, right? So that is what we need to do as analysis, right? So if you consider this point now above this point, you could see that your marginal cost is higher than your marginal revenue. But at this point, your marginal cost is equals to marginal revenue. But you are not keep on producing this level of output. Why? You have the potential to produce more and to obtain more profits. Clear? So therefore, you have to do it. Right? Therefore, you have to do it. Even though, for an example, we are saying that pass mark is how much? What is the pass mark usually? Huh? Pass mark is, let's say it's 40, right? 40%. Right? Since it is 40%, would you like to take exactly 40%? You can see online students, some of them are like to take 40%. Okay, you can stay at this point. It doesn't matter, you can stay at this point. But if you have the capability to go and score more, even more than 100, right? Right? So you can go and stay here, right? You can go and stay here. Clear? Right? So simply, here we are not going to stop your production. Why? You have the potential to produce more and earn more profits. Accordingly, you do it. So here you could see now here your revenue is high and here your marginal cost is low. Right? Marginal cost is low, little by little. Here you could see that both of these are equal. So this is the output level corresponding to that. That is 7. Clear? So this is how we analyze based on a particular graph, and this is the same thing that I have drawn here. Clear? Okay. So these are the two approaches. First one is what? Total revenue and total cost approach. In there, you are going to look at what is the maximum profit that the company could earn. And once you determine that, you are going to produce that level of output. Clear? And the second one is marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. In here, you are going to pick the output level which equals to the marginal cost and marginal revenue. Is that clear? Okay. Right. So could you please read these slides, please? We have already completed. This one I'm not going to read purposefully because if I read this, sometimes you may get confused. But up to now, you know what is first approach and what is the second approach, right? Is that okay? Second approach, right? So based on that knowledge, please read this. Based on that knowledge, please read this. Get the idea? When the marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost, yes, that's the output that you need to pick. Are you outside here? So take the maximum out of this time. So I'm teaching and I'm providing some additional time for you to read and get an idea. And so please get the maximum use of this time. Right, maximum use of this time. Yes, are you all okay? Online students, are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. So what about others? Yes, Karuna Sena. Yes, Pearlie. Sandurvan, are you all there? Sandurvan, are you there?
Yes, sir, it is okay.
Okay, Senanatna, is it fine?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay, then Chandrakanti, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So now you have some sort of a significant knowledge regarding the perfect competitive market structures and their behaviors. Right. So based on that knowledge, we'll move further. Now we are going to discuss about the short-run behavior of the perfect competitive firms. Right. Short-run behavior of the perfect competitive firms, meaning that we have to study about the long-run behavior as well. So this is the short run, at the end you have the long run. Right. Okay, so now when it's come to the short run behavior of this type of a market structure, they are facing two issues in the short run. What is the first one? Price. The first one is price. Right, they have to sell their entire product for the given price. And the other one is production technology. Sometimes due to lower cash flows, they may not having enough technology for production. They may have, but not high level of technology. Clear? So even though they are having these type of issues or bottlenecks or obstacles, they are trying to maximize their profits, right? They are trying to maximize their profits. So when they are trying to maximize their profits by facing to these challenges, they have to take two important decisions, right? They have to take two important decisions. The first decision that they want to take is whether to do the production or whether to leave the industry or whether to shut down, right? Whether to do the production or whether to shut down the company. Okay, that's the first decision. And if they decided to continue their production, they won't determine how much of quantity that they are going to produce. That's coming under the second decision. Right, so if they decide to shut down, nothing to do. Right, so those are the two decisions. First decision is what? First, they need to clearly understand whether they are going to continue their businesses or not. Second, if they are going to continue their business, they want to determine how much of output that they are going to produce. Right? Accordingly, they can continue. For an example, let's say they have decided to continue their businesses and they have to determine how much of their output level. Clear? Now, when they make that decision and when they are continuing their operation, there are three scenarios. They can do the operations by earning what? Profits. Clear? They can do their businesses by break even. They can do their business by making losses, right? So those are the three things, very simple. Either you are earning profits, either you are making losses or break even. So we need to analyze those three things if they decided to continue their business. Now the first one is they have decided to continue their business and they are doing the production and they are making profits, right? They are making profits. So now this is the point where you have to incorporate your whole costing knowledge and the perfect competitive basic knowledge, right? So if you look at this particular graph, I'll do it in here because online students can also see it. Right now, usually you earn profits when your total revenue is higher than your total cost in a very simple way, right? And also if your selling price is higher than your average cost per unit, meaning that you're earning profits, right? Now, if you look at this particular graph, you could see that this is your vertical axis and it represents the price of the product and the cost of the product. And if you look at this line, that is your horizontal axis, it represents the quantity of output that you are going to produce, right? So these are the steps and this is how you need to analyze a particular graph, or sometimes this may be available in your paper as well, right? So in a perfect competitive market, you know that their demand curve is perfect, fill in the blank with suitable word, perfect elastic, right? Accordingly, you could say that this is their demand curve and it is equal to their average revenue, marginal revenue, as well as to their price. Clear? So that is the rationale why this curve is moving horizontally. Then you have your marginal cost. Right? So marginal cost, it's upward sloping, it goes like this. Right? And this is your average cost curve, and this is the behavior of your average cost curve. This is the behavior of your average cost curve. And here you want to know that why we are having these marginal cost, marginal revenue curve, and average cost here. What could be the reason? Because we are going to identify profit maximizing output. So for us to identify the profit maximizing output, we learned that there are how many approaches? Two approaches. The first one is revenue and cost approach, and the second one is marginal revenue and marginal cost. Right? So since there were certain issues in our first model, most of the time we are using this MR equals MC principle. Now, since it is MR and marginal cost, we need to have those two cost curves. Definitely we need to have this. Otherwise, we cannot tackle the profit maximization output. Right? So that is why we are having this marginal revenue curve as well as marginal cost curve. Understood? Right? So then why we are having this average cost? Because we want to show the profit. Right? We want to show the profit. Here you have your average revenue and here you have your average cost. So the difference is your profit. That is why we are incorporating our average cost curve here. Is that clear? So those are the logical reasoning why we are having these three curves in this particular graph, on this particular graph. Clear? Right. Now, if I ask you simply, what is the profit maximizing output? The condition, MR equals MC. Marginal revenue must be equals to marginal cost. Now, at which point here you could see that condition is fulfilled? At point E, D, E, right? How? So here you could see that this is your marginal revenue curve and this is your marginal cost curve. Both these meet at point E. So this is the equilibrium point, right? MR equals to MC. So if you go down, you could see that this is the output that the company wants to produce to maximize their profits. Right, so these are the steps. Please follow these steps. So once you become a master in this, you can do whatever the way that you want. Up to now, these are the steps. Right, first you need to determine at which point your marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. That is at point E. Then go down, and this is the output that you want to produce. Right, you are going to produce Q output level. Right, so here you could write it equilibrium at point E. Why? Since at that time your marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. Then again we have to go along this curve. Right, we came down to show this is the output that we are going to produce. And again, we need to go along this curve. So once we are going along this curve, first we are meeting which curve? We are meeting our average cost curve, right? Average cost curve. And for you to produce this much of output, average cost is how much? P1. Are you getting what I'm saying? The average cost is P1. So once you multiply your average cost, that is P1, with its corresponding output, that is Q, what is you are getting? You are multiplying your average cost from your quantity. What is the answer? Total cost. Meaning that this entire white color rectangular represents what? Your total cost. Accordingly, you could write here your total cost equals to P1, D, Q, and 0. Right? Your total cost equals to P1, D, Q, and 0. Why? This is your average cost. And if you multiply your average cost by your quantity, you are getting your total cost. So this entire white color area, simply this rectangular, is your total cost. Is that clear? Right? Okay, so now we were at this point, right? We were at this point. Now what we are going to do again, we are going to go above, right? We are moving. We are moving. Now we are going to meet which curve? Our average revenue curve, right? We are going to meet our average revenue curve accordingly. This is our average revenue. P is our average revenue. So if you are going to produce Q number of units, this is the average revenue. Well, this is actually the price that you have to sell. So once you multiply your price or the average revenue from its corresponding quantity, what is the answer that you are going to get? Your total revenue. Right, so this simply means that this entire rectangle, this cream color area, as well as this white color area represents your total revenue. Clear? So this is your average revenue. Below everything, that is your total revenue. And this is your average cost curve. Below everything, that is your cost. Clear? So here, what is your total revenue? It's simply P, E, Q, and 0. Right? P, E, Q, and 0. Clear? P, E, Q, and 0. Then what is your profits? What is your profit? This is your total revenue. This is your total revenue. And this white color area is your cost. Then what is your profit? This cream color area. Simply P, E, D, P1. Right? P, E, D, P1. Okay. So this is how the market behaves if the company is earning profits. Clear? Easy. Yes, online students, is that fine?
Yes, sir.
So here it says short run equilibrium with profits under perfect competition. Okay. Fine. So then let us move to the other way around. Right? Short run equilibrium with losses. Right? Now the company is earning losses. Usually how they earn losses if their selling price is lower than the average cost. Simply, again, their total revenue is lower than their total cost. They are earning losses, right? They are earning losses. Now here you could see the price is lower than the average total cost. Accordingly, they are earning losses. Right? Okay, so what is the condition here? Profit maximizing condition. Marginal revenue must be equals to marginal cost. At which point you could see it? At which point? Marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. This is simple, no? At point D, right? Isalla, we need to find out. First and foremost, we need to find out where is our MR and where is our MC. Right? So this is your marginal revenue curve, and this is your marginal cost curve. Both are going to meet each of them at point D. Right? So at this point, your marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. So what we have to do, we have to go down to find out the output level. So this is the output level that you are going to produce. Right? This is the output level that you are going to produce. So accordingly, you could write it here. Equilibrium at point D. Equilibrium at point D, since your marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. Then, right, so we were in here. Then we have to go along this curve. So when we are going along this curve, we are going to meet which curve first? Our average revenue curve. Clear? Our average revenue curve. And here you could say this is the average revenue P1. So if you multiply your P1 from its corresponding output level, you are getting what? Your total revenue, which is equal to this entire white color area. Right? So your total revenue is P1, P, Q, and 0. P1, P, Q, and 0. Right? So then if we go again above, then we are going to meet our which curve? Average cost curve. So this is the average cost to produce this much of output level. So once you multiply your average cost from its corresponding output level, you are going to get your total cost. So this entire yellow color area as well as the white color area represents your total cost. So simply it's PE Q0. Okay, PE Q0. Accordingly, you are earning profits or losses? Losses. Why? Because your total revenue is lower than total cost, or the selling price is lower than your average cost. Accordingly, these are your losses. Why? This is your total cost. This entire yellow color area as well as the white color area is your total cost. But this is your total revenue. You can only recover this much, clear, out of your total cost. So this is a loss. So it's simply PE DP1. PE D P1. PE D P1. Okay. So this is the situation. If the company is making losses, right? If the company is making losses. And the final one, it's zero profits, meaning break even, right? You get what you spend. Simply your price is equals to your average cost, right? Your price is equals to your average cost, or your total revenue equals to your total cost. So again, you could see that this is your marginal revenue curve and this is your marginal cost curve. Condition is what? Marginal revenue must be equals to marginal cost. So here this is your marginal cost and this is your marginal revenue. Both of these cost curves are meeting together at point D. Accordingly, equilibrium at point D. Right? So if you move down, you could see this is the quantity that you are going to sell. Right? This is the quantity that you are going to sell. Again, we are moving along this curve. Now, you could see that at this point, we are going to meet both our average revenue curve as well as average cost curve. So our average revenue is also equals to P. Average cost is also equals to P. Accordingly, if you multiply this P from your quantity, you are getting both your total revenue and total cost, which is same. Your total revenue is PD Q0, and again your total cost is also PD Q0. Do you have profits? Dash. And I forgot to mention in here, you have profits, right? But you're making losses. So your loss is equals to PE DP1. So please write it within brackets. Please write it within brackets because here it's profits, right? You are earning losses. Better you write those within brackets. Right, so just check whether you're okay with these things. Now we have discussed about the profit maximizing output. So if they decide to do the production, they need to decide how much of output they have to produce. Right, so they can do it by making losses, by earning profits, or even break even. So you need to have a very good understanding about how to draw these things and how to illustrate these things. Because such things will be examined in your paper. You need to have a clear idea about how your average revenue goes, how your marginal cost goes, everything. Right? Please check whether you're okay with these things. Yes, any doubts? I just check whether you can draw these things, right? If you have any doubt, you can ask, huh? All matters will be sorted out. Any unclear area, why these curves are moving like this way, can't it be like this? You can ask any doubt. Yes, online students, any doubts? Anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Is it clear? No doubt means there could be two ways. Whether you understood everything or whether you didn't get anything. Right? Yes, online students, is it understood?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay, what about others? We have Ferlin, Sundarwan, Chandrakanti, Karunasena. Yes,
Yes,
are
sir,
you all
it's
okay?
Yes, sir.
We are talking to you by
Yes,
looking.
sir, okay.
Yeah, right. It implies that you are good. Right, good, great, fine. So how was your week? Last week, is it fine? Tomorrow we have office. You are going to be right. Nice, no? It's very nice. Yeah, we work from home. Nice. Oh, lucky. My goodness. We can continue till 6 o'clock, isn't it? Others, you all are going to office physically. Saturday, Sunday, you all are free, no? It's actually not free, no? Like this. So yesterday you had what are the subjects that you have listed and yesterday? Statistics. Marketing. Marketing is doing. Marketing and statistics today morning. Now? What is marketing? If I ask you simply what is marketing? Yes, online friends, you can also join hands with us. So we move to marketing from business economics to marketing. Yes, what is marketing in a very simple way? Yes, what is marketing? And how you define marketing in a very simple way? Is any idea about what marketing is? In a very simple way, I don't know these definitions. Yes, what do you mean by marketing? Why do you do this? Very big so identify customer needs. Second one. Providing the requirement to request customers. Mainly profit. Okay. So what is the difference between sales and marketing? Is there a difference between sales and marketing? What is the difference? I'm just asking now. How to differentiate sales from marketing? Any idea? Sales is ours. Concept of marketing. Marketing, so marketing is simply what? Changing the perception. Changing the perception of the person. Salesperson is there to sell the product. How the perception is changed. That is what marketing means. You are addicted to a particular product. Let's say cosmetics. If you are a parent of the customer, you highly addicted, right? And there's a marketing manager from the Spazi on, and he's saying that yes, this is the product, and if you do this, these things will be changed. And so you're highly addicted to parent company, but based on the skills that particular person is having, you're moving from parent company to change your perception. That's marketing. So once you go to the Spazi on, there is a person. It says, very simple. Okay. So if I did any mistake, regarding explaining these things, try to define. Are you all okay with these things? Right? Say, what shall we do? Shall we? So we have to discuss about your individual assignment. I have uploaded it to LMS. I think you have seen it. And the deadline is also there. LMS link is also there. Everything is there. What you have to do is you have to do it and upload the relevant assignment based on the given guidelines. Although before the deadlines, no emails are accepted. No emails are accepted. So please make sure that no emails, and on nationals I have mentioned their local time, local time, right, Sri Lankan time. Right, so if you have any doubts in your laptops, please make it correct, right? If you feel like there's issue in your hard disk, make it correct, right? Because what I realized that when it's come to the closure to the deadlines, a lot of things would happen. Your hard disk may be broken, right? There may be power cuts. Actually, should be having power cuts, so we know that the owner managers, no? You are making decisions, so deadline is given, you need to plan your work. Right, so that's why at the very beginning, I have given you the roadmap. This day, we are doing these things. This day, you are going to get your assignment details, and this day you have to submit. When I am doing your group assignment, have you started your group assignment? Not like my subject, other subjects. Have you started? Now, how many subjects do you have? You have 5 subjects. How many members per group? 5 members. 6 members. So better to divide the leadership 5 out of 6. That's the way that you have to. Otherwise, finally, I do what will happen. Right? So you're having marketing assignments, business economics assignment, tax assignment, principles of economics assignment, management assignment. Right? So if your group is having 5 members, give the leadership to all those members, because each and every person is responsible for a particular post to be particular subject. So the pressure level is low, so you are having a very good output, right? And this provide the maximum support because that's not an issue, right? For me, it's not an issue. So that is a very simple way. So I think you can do it. That is why I have given this much of an advance. Right now, this is today's date is what? 12th of February. You have to submit your assignment. 3rd of March. Or 5th of March. 5th of March, no? 5th of March. Is that it? 3rd of March. In the assignment, I have mentioned 5th of March. 5th of March. 5th of March, no? Okay, I'll make that adjustment in your elements. Fine, 5th of March. I will make that make it correct. Okay. Right. So we'll discuss about your individual assignment. Right. It's just take only 20 minutes. Right. Have you seen your individual assignment? It's very simple one, huh? Simple, right? It's nothing. I will explain what you need to do now. It's a very simple one, and there are certain conditions that you need to meet. Right? Consider. I will explain those things. Right. Now, the final part of today's lecture. All got silent. How nice. Once I said final part. So those are some motivation factors. Right. Now, is this clear for all of you? Profits, losses, and zero profits. Are you all okay with this? Right. So we are going to start something called shutdown point, but we are not going to fully complete this one because it takes some time because we need to understand, right? Anyway, we'll start this part, shutdown point, and after that, we'll discuss about your individual assignment. Right. So let's right. So clearly this is enough. So let's say there are three situations, right? Three situations. In here, your total revenue is, let's say, you're earning 100 rupees, right? Your fixed cost is equals to 60, and your variable cost is equals to, let's say, 40. Right? Accordingly, your profits is zero, right? Your profit is zero. And let's consider the second situation. Your total revenue is 100, right? Your fixed cost is 60 and your variable cost is 60. You're earning a loss. And the third situation is your total revenue is 100. Your, let's say, fixed cost is 60 again. Fixed cost is 60 again. And your variable cost is 110. Those are the three situations, right? Just look at this clearly. Yes, online students, can you all see this? What I have written here? Can you all see this? What I have written here? Yes, online students.
Not much clear, sir. There are some.
Right, so okay, so simply what I have written, shall I write it again?
So, sir, if you could use a black color pen, then it will be easy. I think.
Good. So it's 100, it's 60, it's 40. Right. Now is it visible?
Yeah, now it's numbers are visible, sir, but that TR and other one also, if you could use it black color, then it will be.
Sure. Right, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. So this is how I write. Right. 110. This is minus 70. Right. So this is your total revenue. And this is your fixed cost. And this is your variable cost. And these are your profits. I think now it's okay, right? Right. So those are the three situations that you have. Right? Three situations that you have. Now, if I ask you a question, which situation or situations that you would like to choose to operate as a rational businessman, what could be your answer?
One,
Situation one, right? Are there any answers? Two. Okay, so now I think you got my question, right? So which situation or situations that you would prefer to operate your business? These are the, let's say, revenue and cost figures that have been given. You are saying one. You also say one. Others? Yes, what do you think? One or two? It's two. First and two. Okay, fine. What do you think? First and second. Okay, yes. What do you think? One and two. Yes. One. Two guys?
prefer to operate.
Yeah, you are good. Yeah, prefer to operate your business. You don't
Have option now.
you don't have option. Okay, fine. Yes, online students, what do you think? Yes. Online students, what do you think?
Option one.
Sorry,
Option one.
option one. Yes. What about others?
Option 1 and 2.
Option one and two, right? Others?
1 and 2.
Okay. Others? Two and three, right? Okay, good. Are there any answers from abroad people? Yes, what do you think? One. As of those who say one, only one, na? Only one. Right, only one. Two. Okay. Three. One and two. One and three. Two and three. Two and three. Three and one. Both are same. Right, good. Okay, fine. Now, what is the rationale behind this? As of, yes, you said one. Why you pick one? Yes, because we are break even. Right, good answer. You earn what you spend. Right? So you said one and two. What could be the reason for that?
Even though you are investors, if you are a price taker, you have beat the market because you have learned things cost. So you have to beat the market incurring loss and while you still you can cover up the variable cost with your PR. Because you earn 100, your variable cost is 60. Still cover up your variable.
Okay, fine. So why did you say two and three? Two and three. Okay, fine, fine, good. Right, so now if you look at the first scenario, right? If you look at the first scenario, it's agreed. You are incurring or you are getting what you have incurred. Right? So better to choose this point. And if you look at this point, your income is 100 and your fixed cost is 60 and your variable cost is also 60. What do you think? Better to choose this one? What do you think? Your fixed cost is also 60 and your variable cost is also 60. So you can cover up your fixed cost. But you cannot cover your what? Variable cost. Is that okay? 40 rupees you can cover up, right? But rest you cannot. And if you look at this part, you can only cover up your fixed cost and 40 out of your variable cost. Clear? Now, if the situation is like this, let's say now let's assume that now which one do we need to cover first? Fixed cost or variable cost?
Variable.
Huh?
Variable.
Variable or fixed? Which cost? Fixed cost. We need to think about that. Fixed cost. Now, fixed cost is fixed irrespective of the level of output. But you can adjust your variable cost depending on your production. Clear? Depending on your production. Now, you're earning 100 rupees. Out of that 100 rupees, you can recover fully your fixed cost. That's good. But you cannot recover your variable cost. The condition is if you are in a position to recover your variable cost, even though you earn losses, better to continue. Are you getting what I'm saying? Even though you earn losses, and if you can still recover your variable cost, better to continue your business. Right? Better to continue your business. Why? Fixed cost is something you can recover. Fixed cost is something that you can recover. But when it comes to the variable cost, your variable cost increases, decreases based on the level of output that you're going to produce. Right? Accordingly, you need to consider about when you're doing your production, whether you are in a position to recover your variable cost. Clear? If not, you have to leave the industry. Is that clear? If not, you have to leave the industry. Are you getting what I'm saying? Right. So the condition is that first you need to determine whether you can recover your variable cost fully. If you can recover your variable cost fully, even though you make losses, better to continue your business. If you cannot recover your variable cost, meaning that you have your fixed cost to be recovered as well, better to leave the industry in a very simple way. In a very simple way. Here, that's the thing that you want to know here in a very simple way. Clear? Right. Accordingly, when the company is going to sell their product, at least they need to charge a price which is equals to their average variable cost. Right? Because of that condition. First, you need to determine at least you can cover your variable cost or not. Otherwise, no point of doing the business. Clear? Right? So, if it is a per unit, that is average variable cost per unit. Right? So, when you are determining your price, you need to at least sell your product at a price which is equal to your average variable cost. If your price is below your average variable cost, better to leave the industry. Clear? That's the point that you want to take from you. So anyway, we are going to discuss many things regarding to this shutdown point in our next or the future lessons. For the moment, please remember that if you cannot recover your variable cost fully, better to leave the industry. First thing. right? Okay. If you can recover your variable cost, even though you make profits, sorry, losses, better to continue your operations. Why? By doing more and more sales in the future, you can recover your fixed cost. Okay, so that's the second point that we want to know. And the third one is when you're pricing the product, at least consider to price that product which is equal to your average variable cost. Simply, you get your average variable cost. Here, fourth one is if your selling price is below your average variable cost, better to leave the industry. Right? Because you can't cover your variable cost. Nothing to discuss about fixed cost then. Right? So we'll discuss about these things in a more detailed way in our next session. Clear? Okay. Right. Yes, online students, are you all okay? Yes, online students.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, others, are you all fine?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. It is clear.
Good. So we have many things to discuss about shutdown point. So this is just a startup. Huh? Please keep this understanding in your mindset and we'll do further things. Right. So what I want to do is now I want to discuss simply your individual assignment. I have uploaded your individual assignment to LMS. Right, so please go to LMS and please look at the individual assignment that I have given. Right. Okay, so here you have your individual assignment and I will remodify the submission date. Listen now. Right. This is your individual assignment. Right, we'll start. Do you want bottom-up approach or top-down approach? What you prefer, bottom-up or top-down? Bottom-up, it's fine, no? It looks fine, no? Bottom-up. Now here it says, I'm Chalith Kavinda. So the submission date of your assignment, individual assignment is 5th of March 2023. And the submission method via LMS, I have created the LMS link in your LMS. Right? So this is how the marks will be determined. Simply the marking, the degree to which it follows the conventional structure of the business report. Right? So it must be professional because I know that you all are working. So it must be a professional business report. Right? And accuracy of the technical content. Here it says point number 5. We'll see what is that point number 5. Then quality of the general written expression, spelling, grammar, appropriate tone, which means how you break from one para to another. And the quality of the layout and overall impression of the report. Right? So it must be properly formatted. Simply, it's like a business report, right? Highly professional one, nah? So that's why I have given this assignment today itself. Otherwise, nothing to discuss about this, right? Then correct referencing. If you have any referencing, I'll explain what is the style that we are following. And finally, it is extremely important that you are familiar with academic honesty, simply plagiarism. Right? You might see this type of assignment because I have given similar kind of things. So don't copy paste in a very simple way. So we are checking the plagiarism. If it is detected, there could be issues, right? So please don't copy paste. And you can take the details from internet, but you need to paraphrase it. So you need to write that by your own words, right? So don't just copy paste it, and please make the references, in-text citations as well as the final references as well, right? So please simply don't copy paste it because you are working students and I'm expecting a highly professional behavior from you all, right? Okay, so little by little we are moving. The time is 4:40. All right, so the requirements. So what you have to do? Simply the maximum number of pages must be 15 pages or 4,000 words. Abstract, content, brief introduction about the assignment, appendices and references will not be counted, right? In the page count or the word count, it's simply your body, right? Simply your body. And the referencing style is Harvard formatting. You might have heard these things, Harvard formatting. Even if you type these things in the internet, you could get the references, how you need to reference a particular website, how you need to reference a book, how you need to reference a journal, newspaper, everything is there, right? So these are the things that you need to do. Simply, it's a business report which contains 15 pages only for body, yeah? Only for body, right? Are you all okay up now, online students? Are you all okay?
Yes, sir. If you could share your screen, then it will be easy.
Oops, extremely sorry. Goodness. Right, so this is what we have been discussing. We have started, we are using bottom-up approach and we have started from here. And now we are at this point. Right, okay. Okay, fine, good. So this is the structure of your report. Everything is given, right? Everything is given. This is the structure of your report. Assignment cover, usually you know you have to do it. Abstract of the assignment, it's simply the executive summary. So what you have before, listen this carefully, yeah, listen this carefully. Yes, listen this carefully. So at the very beginning, you are going to tell to the reader, what is this business report? What you have done this in a very simple way. That is what you know as executive summary. And you have the table of content and the brief introduction about the assignment, what you have to do. And this is the main body. This is the point number 5. And here you could see I have mentioned there point number 5, accuracy of the technical content. So simply, as explained above, you need to include all the figures, tables, graphs in the main body or under appendices. Better if you can include this under in your main body, right? Because you have the graph and the explanation. Graph and the explanation. Otherwise, I have to go here and there, right? For certain cases, better to put those things into appendices, but here will, since we are beginners, we will start like this. So here you could say high weightage is given. And references list, definitely you need to have, if you have, and the appendices. Clear? This is the structure of your report. Is this clear? Right. So now you know your structure of the report. What are the other requirements? And simply the things that you need to consider. This is not the marking scheme. This is not the marking scheme. Things you need to consider. Right. Then you have the things to be done. It's a very simple one. Even though it says 15 bullet points, it's very simple, right? I will explain it clearly. Now here, what you have to do, you have to imagine a hypothetical company. So sometimes you could be an entrepreneur. So you can decide based on that prevailing company or your imagination, right? Or your actual business if you are an entrepreneur. Okay, that is the first thing that you need to do. And you need to pick a product from your company. For an example, let's say you are deciding to have a bakery in a very simple way. You can just consider one product. Could be fish bun, could be hot dog, or whatever. I don't consider a range of products, only a single product. right? Then let's say if you are going to open a particular shoe shop, right? So you have office wears, then casual wears, ne? Party items, right? Likewise, pick one. If it is office wear, it's office wear, a shoe, right? Likewise, only one product you need to consider. That's the first thing that you need to do. Simply, this is something like a proposal for a business plan, right? In a very simple way. Right. So what you have to do, give a hypothetical name for your company. Give a name. And you are learning management as well. You can incorporate that knowledge here as well. Right? Because it's always already there. Now you need to write an introduction about your company. Develop a small vision and mission statement. Objectives. Business model. Your main business activity. Your target market. And reason for selecting such kind of a market. If you pick only bridal dresses, you need to justify why you picked that one. If you consider about office wears, you need to justify why you picked that one. Likewise, and the management hierarchy of your organization. Clear? Very simple, no? Very simple. Then it's very simple, right? It's very simple. So just an introduction to your company, right? Describe your hypothetical production process. Here I have mentioned only a single product. Please take a single product. You need to mention what are your inputs. We learn these things. What are your fixed inputs? What are your variable inputs? And your cost structure. If you are producing fish bun, what is the cost structure? And the reasons for incurring such kind of a cost. Tell something about the short-term production of your company. Right? Tell something about the short-term production of your company. What are your plans? Right? If there are any issues, how we are going to sort out those issues. Okay. That is the bullet number 2. Then hypothetically assume several production levels and identify fixed cost and variable cost relating to such production levels. You need to come up with figures. Very simple. You are going to produce 1 fish bun, 2 fish bun, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what are the fixed cost? What are the variable cost and total cost? Don't go 1 to 100, right? When you're estimating the production, just 1 to 15, something like that. Is this bullet number 4 okay? 4 out of 15 is done. So we have another level. It's very easy. Right, then you have already estimated your fixed cost and the variable cost. What you need to do simply, it's Excel calculation, right? You have to calculate your total cost. You have to calculate your total cost and plot your total cost, fixed cost and a variable cost on a graph. Very simple way. And explain the behavior. Right? You are required to explain the behavior of the above 3 cost curves relating to your product, and the explanation has to be based on what you have learned in business economics. Now, what I have realized that when I have given this kind of a thing, you need to explain the behavior relating to your product, not based on Investopedia. Are you getting what I'm saying? Not based on Investopedia or Corporate Finance Institute or Wikipedia, right? Or something like that. You need to explain the behavior relating to your product, right? Is it easy? Just calculation the total cost and plot it on a graph and explain it. Very simple. Then what may be the solutions to overcome the issues of this behavior of the cost curve? In which point you would like to choose to operate? Now, this is your short term. Hypothetically assume several issues. Then come up with solutions. Clear? Are you okay with this? Come up with solutions. So you need to read this carefully and in a free mindset, right? Otherwise you get confused. Now, today onwards, you are learning. Now here is an assignment, you get confused. I know it. So that is what I want. That is why I am explaining these things in a very simple way. So please go home and take a rest. And tomorrow or day after tomorrow, just get a printout and simply read this. It's very easy one, even though it's 15 bullet points. right? It's all about Excel, right? Then what you have to do, you have to calculate your average cost figures, right? Earlier you have calculated your total cost figures, total cost, total fixed cost and total variable cost, and you plotted them on a graph, then explain the reasons. Then here again, what you have to do, you have to calculate those average fixed costs, average variable cost, and average total cost, and explain the behavior relating to your product, right? Relating to your product. So again, what may be the solutions to overcome the issues of this behavior? So there could be certain issues relating to your product, relating to your average cost figures, right? So you need to come up with solutions for that. And what you have to do, you have to calculate the marginal cost and plot both marginal cost and average cost on the same graph. Actually, this is a little bit difficult because if you look at this Excel, it's very difficult to get the marginal cost figure exactly on the exact point. So here what you could do, you can use two graphs for this. One is to show the marginal cost behavior and the other one is to show the behavior of your average total cost. Okay. Calculate, explain, calculate, explain, calculate, graphically illustrate and explain, calculate, graphically illustrate and explain. Here also calculate, graphically illustrate and explain. So 9 out of 15 is done. Then what you have to do, calculate the average product and plot average product on the same graph. So what you experience about your production once you observe these two cost curves. Now you have to calculate your average product. You have already calculated your average cost. What you have to do, you have to draw this in Excel, average product and average cost, right? Right. So then what would be the optimum production level according to those cost curves? Simply, you know that your average product goes like this, your average cost goes like this. So this is the optimum level, isn't it? So we need to pick this and we have to write something, right? That is what here it says. Then we discussed everything relating to short run. Now it's all about your long run. So what do you think about your long run production? No need to graphically illustrate the things. Just write any expansions. Right? Now you are a real businessman. This is your company. I need your plan. Right? Any expansions, changes in the cost structure, which type of cost you are going to incur. It's obvious that you know it's variable cost. Right? So you need to come up with certain analysis. Right? Then is there a relationship between the short run and the long run cost? You need to write. Is there a relationship? Yes. When you're moving along your long run average cost curve, you're having your short run average cost curve. So that is what you have to explain relating to your product. So here I have mentioned no need to have any figure. Right? You are required to draw the two curves and explain the relationship. Relating to your product, I know that you know the relationship between your short run average cost and long run average cost. What I want you to do is explain related to your product. Yeah. Then again, which point would you choose to operate? We did today. And calculate the profit maximization point using total and marginal approaches. Did we discuss that one? Very simple. So already you have your output, already you have your cost, determine the price, get the total revenue, calculate the difference. It's done. And the other one is marginal approaches. You have already calculated your marginal cost here. Right? You have already calculated your marginal cost here. What you have to do is you have to calculate your marginal revenue. Then finally, state any plans that you wish to conduct for your company. Any plans, right? Very simple. Now here, the issue is when you are drawing these curves, it must be like that, right? Now we know that our average product goes like this, but it does not want to be like this, like an ECG, right? So simply, that is why I have given this assignment. do it using Excel, and you can just manage your, figures, right? If you know the curve must be like this, have the data set according to that. Clear? So it's simply Excel based activity. Okay. 15 points. It's done. Right. So you have the time. Now it's 12th of February. So you have time till 5th of March. Isn't it? It's 5th of March. Right. This is not 3rd of May. You might start, you have started your second semester as well. This is not 3rd of May, this is 5th of March. Right? This is 5th of March. Right? Yes, online students, are you all okay with this guidelines?
Yes, sir. Can you please explain more about this last point, that is point number 15?
Just listen. Yes, Buddha, what's your, yeah, this one.
Yes.
All right. So this is actually somewhat related with this. Now, state any plans that you wish to conduct for your company. Now, for an example, let's say now you are running a bakery. So you are little by little moving to a restaurant. Then after that, you are trying to have it as a reception hall. Then finally, a hotel, something like that.
It's like as a growth plan, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Your expansion.
Okay, thank
Right?
you, sir.
Yes, what? Okay, fine. Yes, what about others? Yes, be silent. Be silent. Be silent, be silent. Yes, any other issues, online students? Anything that you need to clarify? Yes. You all, anything that you need to clarify? Right, so let's wind up for the day and we'll wait on next week, and thank you very much. So please study and come. And please start your assignment tomorrow onwards, because you need to have a professional report. I want to see a professional business report from you all, right? Sometimes your content may be in the last page, reference may be in the middle. So I don't want to see such kind of reports. Okay. Right. Okay. So we'll see you all next week, and thank you, online students. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Bye. Take care. Yeah, I have mentioned 5th of March, no? So I have made the correction, huh?